We're looking at NotebookLM, a product from Google. It's free and very few people use it. As soon as they do use it, they come back to me and they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever used. Why has nobody talked about this? NotebookLM is absolutely fantastic. So I want to give basically a quick overview showing what you can do with it and talking about some best practices. NotebookLM is always changing, adding new stuff to it. So if you're watching this a bit later, there's probably some additional functionality. That's fine. What I'm going to be focusing on is the workflow and how you can best use it. And that's just going to become better and better over time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, TikTok. NotebookLM, what is it? I'll show you if you've never seen it before. You can find it very easily. Just Google NotebookLM and you'll be able to access it using your Google account. You'll need a Gmail account to log in. It is free. If you have a paid access to Gemini, you maybe get some more usage. I've never hit any limits in it with my personal or paid business account. I think it might be free. I do not know the answer. I looked to find out if there's a way to pay for it or if there's any limitations, and I could not find it. Not that surprised. Google are not particularly good at highlighting those kind of things. We can use it for free. We can get a lot of access to it for free. This is what it looks like. But you're going to have three basic panels when you create a new notebook. On the left, sources. In the middle, chat. On the right, studio. Think of this as your inputs. On the left, sources. On the right hand side, studio. Those are your outputs. I'm going to go to a notebook, a bit meta here, but this is a notebook about NotebookLM. I used it to generate assets for this presentation I'm giving right now. So that's probably the most impressive thing that you can do with NotebookLM. This presentation that you can see on your screen is generated 100% by AI using NotebookLM. And as you can tell, it's pretty good. And the text is all correct. 6 months ago, getting accurate text into a presentation using AI was basically impossible. But then Nano Pro came out, Google's image model, and solved that problem. Now we generate presentations in NotebookLM using Nano Pro, and they look perfect. So why would we use NotebookLM, excuse me? Primarily, if we are studying or we want to teach a subject. It is a very good tool for anything to do with knowledge, acquiring knowledge or passing knowledge on to other people. We're going to talk first about teaching, and then I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk first about learning, and then I'll talk about how you can teach as well. However, I believe the two are intertwined. If you want to really master a subject, it's very important to teach it as well. It's a good way to master the material. The great thing about NotebookLM, and this I think goes unappreciated, is that what it's doing, which is very unlike ChatGPT, it's very unlike Claude, very unlike Gemini, is NotebookLM is allowing you to bring your own sources, and it's going to do all of its work based on those sources. So when you open up a new notebook, it will ask you, the first thing it asks is, okay, add sources. You can add sources from websites, so you can give it a list of URLs. You can add sources directly from YouTube, because this is a Google product. You can add a YouTube video. It will pull the transcript and the information from that video into NotebookLM. You can also pull documents from Google Drive. If you have documentation about your product and you want to bring it into a notebook, you can pull everything in, or drop in your own sources. We have PDF, text, Markdown, audio, image files, even WebP, which is always causing chaos. So you can pull the sources in, and NotebookLM is going to be able to see and hear them, not just read them, but it's going to be able to work multimodal. Very cool. What they have added more recently, the ability to find sources within NotebookLM as well. So I can type something like, I want to learn about, let's say, neural networks, do fast or deep research, and set it to research on the web or from a local Google Drive. So let's say I had a folder full of textbooks or a folder full of my writing, for example. I'd be able to pull in information from there. But for now, we're just going to use the web, and we'll do fast research and press go, and it's going to pull in websites. Now, that's one way to get sources, or you go and find them yourself manually. I recommend finding high quality sources yourself. Go and find the best websites, the best YouTube videos, review them yourself, then bring them into Notebook Curate, because we can add a huge amount of stuff, 50 sources per notebook and 25 million words per notebook. However, if we do that, it's not much different from just using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. The excellent part about NotebookLM is if we feed in high quality sources, it's going to provide all of its answers, all of its chat, all of its studio outputs based on that input. Garbage in, garbage out is irrelevant with NotebookLM. So it might be tempting just to give it as many sources as possible. Can you see it's just found 7 sources here? I could say import all, but I don't know if they're necessarily useful. So I would highly recommend, if you are using the source discovery, going to these pages. Here's one, Neural Network Zero to Hero by Andrej Karpathy. I know this is great. This is a really useful source because Karpathy is fantastic. So I'd go ahead and say, yes, import that. But go through each of these and just check, are these worth bringing in or not? So you can either go out to Google, find these sources yourself, go to YouTube, find these sources yourself, or use the inbuilt deep research or quick research. For the presentation I'm putting together now, I found an official tutorial and a couple of good YouTube videos. So I've only got 4 sources, but that's all I needed. I did not need to import everything ever written about the subject to get good results. I highly recommend this. Do not overload it. Garbage in, garbage out. You can now talk to your sources. So in the same way that when you talk to ChatGPT, talk to Gemini, Claude, whatever it is, you can discuss. That is fine, but that is similar to using ChatGPT in learn mode or asking Claude to ask you questions about a certain subject. It's fine, but it's not that exciting. What is much more exciting than this chat mode is Studio. I'm going to show you Studio. We can create the presentation. This presentation was created by NotebookLM by clicking the button slide deck. It takes the 4 sources I gave and it turned them into a slide deck. Very cool. That's not all. We can generate an audio podcast, a video explainer, mind maps, various types of reports, briefing docs, study guides, blog posts. You can put in your own requirements, strategic memos, implementation, concept explainer, feature breakdown, etc. We can create flashcards, quizzes, an infographic, slide deck, and data tables if it is more numbers based. So let's have a look at what they look like. Oh no, that is going to be the video. So the first one is the slide deck. So that is the one I'm using right now to talk about NotebookLM. I know it's a bit meta, but you can see it's created a beautiful looking slide deck using Nano Banana Pro. That takes about 5 minutes. Just be aware if you need a presentation in the next few minutes, for whatever reason, it does take a little while. The next one would be this video explainer. We're gonna have some audio here.
All right, today we're gonna talk about a tool that makes a pretty huge promise. To take all that digital
skip forward a bit. There we go.
It lets you synthesize entire libraries of information at once. Once you've built this expert knowledge base, you move on to step 2.
It's created a whole explainer video for me. This is like a presentation, with a guy talking about it. He's doing my job, what I am doing right now. I hope mine is more interesting. This is an incredibly powerful learning resource. Next, is this audio?
Let's unpack this. We all know the feeling, right? You're prepping for the biggest presentation of your career.
So this has created a 17-minute long podcast. We'll listen to it for a bit.
If you're trying to master a complex new field or organizing notes for a new business idea, you have the files, PDFs, links, voice memos, training manuals. It's a gigantic stack of potential knowledge. How do you synthesize that into mastery quickly? You're drowning in information and you need a lifeline.
It is the defining research challenge of our time. We have access to everything.
There are 2 voices, a male and a female voice, and they have a dialogue. They will talk about whatever topic you have given them. Whatever topic you want to learn about, they will have a 2-person conversation about that topic. If you're on audio, and if you need to listen to learn, I'm all over the place. This is a fantastic way for you to learn. You can also download it and take it on the go to continue to learn. They've done something else which is really interesting. I'll show it to you. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's very interesting. They have an interactive mode with their audio. So you can jump in as a guest on their podcast.
We all know the feeling, right? You're prepping for the biggest
Oh wait, someone wants to join. Go for it.
This is Kyle from AI with Kyle. I would love to know the difference between NotebookLM and using ChatGPT.
We love that you jumped in, Kyle. That is a phenomenal question.
And honestly, it is the fundamental question.
Because you are actually right.
They both look like a chat box.
But the difference is the core philosophy. It comes down to 2 major things.
Context and source-grounded truth.
When you chat with something like ChatGPT, it's pulling information from the vast data set.
That is very cool. I imagine you could do some interesting hacks where you get them to interview you. At the moment, they talk too much. I think everyone would agree with that. They are very verbose and they'll talk. It sounds like AI, honestly. What would be really cool is if there is a mode where they can interview you and react to what you're saying. If you are learning to public speak, if you want to go on podcasts, if you want to become a teacher, would be such a cool learning tool because it allows you to explain ideas and have an audience listening. So it would become you speaking more and them listening and responding rather than what it is right now, which is a lot of chatter. It's still very useful, but I think that could be 100% refined. Let's move on. This is a note. I'll get back to that. This one is a report, a written report about the sources I've given it. That is great if you want to make some notes, if you need just some bullet points. You can also have it create things like blog articles. So if you wanted to potentially turn that into something that you're also going to publish, it can help you with that too. Let's look at the infographic. That's nice. Master a notebook at your AI research assistant. Step 1, curate your sources. Step 2, interact and learn, chat with your expert. Pro tip, quality in, quality out. The usefulness of the AI's output depends on the quality of your source. Step 3, generate and act. It's made this infographic. Looks good. You can also, when you click here, if you click on this edit button, you can give it style tips. So you can say, this is how I want it to be. Oh, I can put it into a detailed mode. Let's give it some style. Use AI with Kyle branding. Ideally, I could give it an actual brand assets. That would be really cool. That is not the case here, although I might be able to provide that in a source and it can use that. I'd have to test that. I'm just going to say, create me a square infographic that is detailed. Use the AI with Kyle branding. Generate. Now that's going to take a while, so we'll check back. What else do we have? So we have the infographic. If you are learning a subject, it's not enough to just read and consume the information. You need to actively test yourself. So we can do that. We have flashcards, so we can use this. It's a primary differentiator between Google NotebookLM and general AI chatbots like ChatGPT. That is the fact that we provide sources and it's grounded in the sources we provide rather than its general training. So here we go. NotebookLM is grounded in the specific sources provided by the user rather than the open web. I think I got that. Why is NotebookLM significantly less likely to hallucinate compared to other models? In this case, we've grounded it in certain sources. As long as we provide high quality sources, we're going to get correct answer. It's not going to try and fill in the gaps with stuff it doesn't know with stuff from its own model. It interpolates information strictly from uploaded resources rather than fabricating or assuming data. What is the maximum number of sources? I believe it's 50 sources, etc., etc. So we could use this in whatever we are learning. I'm currently learning Greek, for example. So I could feed in a Greek grammar lesson that I'm working on, and it would test me extensively on that grammar and vocabulary. I'm showing you one example, but you can feed in whatever sources you want. As well as the flashcards, we have a quiz. What's the primary differentiator between NotebookLM and general AI tools? It's grounded strictly in sources by its user, so I think that's going to be A. B, it has more creative writing style. Nope. C, it's the only AI tool that supports PDFs. Nope. And D, it can access real-time data from open web. So it's a way to solidify our learning. And the final one is a mind map. Excuse me. So if you're studying, this is a way to break down concepts of whatever you're learning. Let's see. Notebook, and we can click on, oh, that's not very helpful. There we go, I can zoom in. It's saying the studio output, audio and video, study tools, visual data. Oh, that's interesting. When I click on this mind map, it is telling me more information here in the chat box, rather than just letting me go through the mind map. That's fine. This again is a way to explore a concept and see it broken down. Its utility depends on how you learn. We all learn differently. I learn through visuals, others need to listen to things, others need to be more kinetic, try things. And then all of us can be supported by things like flashcards and quizzes, because that's forcing us to not just have the knowledge passively, but to actively apply it. And then we can do weird things like the audio, jumping in and having a conversation with the audio podcast and talking about concepts. Again, that might be a way to reinforce learning. There are artifacts you can create here in the studio, and you're going to hone in on the ones that help you the most. Let's have a look. Okay, we've got our new detailed AI with Kyle branded infographic. It's added AI with Kyle, got a little emoji, smiley face, which isn't right, but that's fine. I didn't give it much information. And this is the new detailed type in beta, so you can ask it to provide more detail. It has added a huge amount of detail. I would say probably too much, but to be fair, it is detailed mode. So it's done exactly what we asked it. Cluttered, but again, detailed mode. With all sources, you can click the pencil icon and adjust. For the quiz, for example, we can have easy, medium, and hard questions. We can say more questions and adjust the topic. We can give it custom instructions. You can do this with every single one of these outputs. Very cool. I want to talk a little bit about Feynman. So Richard Feynman was a physicist, but also talked a lot about education. You can use NotebookLM to study for yourself, but I recommend going to the next step. When you have learned a topic, teach it to others. You can do that very easily using NotebookLM because you can now put together slide decks like this and then do exactly what I am doing, which is hop onto camera and record yourself going through a slide deck. I've done multiple like this. So this is one about the need for marketing. You can't just build an AI tool and hope for the best. You need to market. I've created multiple presentations like this and present them. This is a good way for you to cement your own learning and create content that is going to help other people. You can post it up onto YouTube, you can post it up onto social media and start to build up a following around what you do. So you are killing so many birds with one stone here. That's a horrible metaphor, isn't it? But you are basically learning and mastering the topic yourself, but also forcing yourself up to that higher level by teaching it to other people. That is the Feynman technique. And at the same time, you can build an audience around what it is you are learning, because other people are going to want to learn with you. From that audience, you can build up a business if that's interesting for you. NotebookLM makes it so easy to do, and very few people are using it in that way. I sat down this morning and I was like, oh, what am I going to do my live on? There's not much AI news right now. I'll just throw together a quick presentation about NotebookLM and show people what it can do and why they should be checking it out. That would not have been possible a couple of months ago because I wouldn't have been able to create beautiful slides like this. So it's a huge opportunity if you want to create content, if you want to educate people, and if you want to do that whilst you are learning a new topic. Very cool. It's free. I'm on a pro account here because I have Gemini Pro, but there is a free version too, and I don't believe the limits are significant. So there is no reason not to play around with it. Google NotebookLM, it will pop up, and go and try it. Please do tell me what you find if you enjoy using it. I love it. Every time I introduce it to people, they're like, this is amazing. Why does nobody talk about this? Hopefully you have the same response. Now I'm going to hop over to some questions. I know I've been babbling, but the reason was I wanted to get this kind of clean so that we have a presentation that can go onto YouTube. But I will now jump over to some questions. Thank you for your patience. For those who are still here. How do you deal with versioning? Since NotebookLM outputs PDF slides, you can't modify small things. So really good question here. So let's say I've created this PDF and I wanted to change this headline here. I cannot do that because it is an image. Notebook does a very clever thing, which is creating images, creating slides using images. So it's not actually structuring each component and working out where the components go. It is creating a Nano Banana Pro image of each slide. It's thinking, oh, what should this slide look like? And then generating an image. Very clever. However, leads to the problem, which was just mentioned in chat, of how do you change things? How do you change this title? You cannot do it in Notebook, which is annoying. However, you can in Manus. They announced this just before Christmas, and I don't think everyone realized how powerful this was. So slides created with Nano Banana Pro are now editable inside of Manus. Once it's created, you can now select and edit text. You can select certain parts like an image, like this image here. Let's say you had this image and you don't like this blue to white gradient. So you're able to select that in Manus and say, change this to red and green, and Manus will change just that element. This has been a problem in AI image generation, where you would give a instruction like this, change to red and green on the gradient, and it would do that and then change the whole of the rest of the slide and mess up everything else. So if you are happy with this part, if you're happy with the title, you're happy with the general structure, it's very difficult working with an image generator because it will tend to muck things up every single time. So Manus have basically fixed that problem. You can create presentations in the same way that you create them inside of NotebookLM, but using Nano Banana Pro. It's the same underlying technology, just a different interface. You can edit them. What I imagine will happen is the NotebookLM guys will see what Manus have done and be like, we need to do that too. If you're watching this at a later date, you might be wondering, of course you can edit the presentation slides. I would not be surprised if they add that directly into NotebookLM, because that is such a killer functionality. What's the path to get into AI for someone who has no coding experience and a little tech knowledge? I've created an answer for that. People have asked me that so many times that I was like, I should answer this question. If you go to aiwithkyle.com, I've got a 5-day challenge. On the front page is get AI ready in 5 days. You can enter this free challenge, which is 5 days of lessons, totally free. And then it will also signpost you to my other resources, because I have a bunch of free courses here. There's one about how to start a business with AI, one about how to start providing workshops to businesses and getting paid very well. I get paid about $2,000 an hour for workshops. And then a bunch of other courses here. There are also 90 plus playbooks on this website, a bunch of tools, but a lot of stuff. So I'd say start here with this free challenge. That will get you into the community where we post content, and it will get you on your way. So yeah, that's the best place. Of course, I'm a little biased. Would you upload this live to your YouTube, please? Yes, I do every single day. So all of these go onto YouTube. I'm talking to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok all at the same time. The high-res version, 4K, will go onto YouTube. It will also be edited. So right now I'm umming and falling over my words. This is the rough cut. My editor will tidy things up. It's still chaotic. We need a little bit of chaos. Is this your tool? No, I wish it was. No, this is Notebook. Imagine if I'd made NotebookLM. No, Google made this. You might have heard of them. Can you export the slides with audio? Do you mean the kind of video explainer? Oh, I just generated a new one. This one? Yes, I can download it. Yep. So I've downloaded this. Let me just pull that video into here.
All right, today
There we go. This is now a downloaded video, which I downloaded to my desktop. I could technically put this on YouTube. I don't know if people are, and I don't know how well it would go down, but you can create these explainer videos. So this explainer video with audio, with slide animations, which is 7 minutes long, I've downloaded. You can do that free, which is mind-boggling. I missed the start of this live. Tell me what software this is again. This is NotebookLM. The whole guide I've done will be on YouTube later. You do good lives, great educator. Thank you. This is my 124th live. I was rubbish initially. I can still improve a lot, but it gets easier. Repetition is the key. So for me, public speaking does not come naturally. I'm very introverted normally, but doing repetitions again and again and again allows you to up your skill. So I've been doing social media on TikTok, Instagram for the last 2 years or so. And again, starting was difficult. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it. I spent hours editing and getting in my own way. But as you practice a daily basis, it becomes a habit. It's the same with the lives. This is live number 123 or 124. The first one was horrible and I just forced myself to do it. I've been doing it pretty much every day. Not yesterday because I was flying. It's a skill that can be practiced. If you're thinking I should start social media or getting on camera, just do it. The first time you do it, it will not be very good. And that is fine. Nothing that we do for the first time we'll be able to do well. We just have to get over that awkward hump and then spend a few months getting better at a skill. And then we get to a place where it's a bit more comfortable. There's no easy way. You just have to do the work until it becomes easy. Canva Magic Word will change them. Magic Text, yes, great, another way to do it. So you take your PDFs, you take it over to Canva, and then you can edit them as well. That's a really good point, thank you. Oh, and GenSpark, yes. GenSpark's really good. Maybe I should do a presentation about GenSpark. GenSpark is one of those other pieces of software that not that many people know about, but when you use it, it's like, oh, this is really good. I might do something on GenSpark. Can you see a market in teaching how to use Claude? The thing about Claude is amazing. Claude is my favorite AI model. I absolutely love Claude. Not that many people use it. The market right now is in teaching people how to use ChatGPT because it has 900 million users. And Sabrina Ramanov was talking about this the other day, teaching people how to use Copilot, because very few people are focusing on that area of the market. And a lot of businesses use Copilot because they use Microsoft. Teaching Claude has two problems. The first is the market's not very big. Not very many people use Claude. When you step outside our niche or the group that are interested in artificial intelligence, if you go and talk to someone in the street and you ask them about Claude, they'll be like, what the hell is Claude? Nobody knows what Claude is, except in our tight circles. So the people who do know what Claude is, are already advanced. If you're going to teach them, you have to be teaching them at a high level. So there's a market in teaching Claude code, but for Claude, generally, no. I would focus on Copilot, even though it's not very good. A lot of people need training and few talk about it, or ChatGPT just because it has a huge market. And so when, for example, when I am doing content on social media and you have to do things like hashtags, you would never hashtag something with Claude or Anthropic because nobody knows what that is. Generally, you'd hashtag with ChatGPT, which has millions of videos and content about it. Claude Code is not free, no. Claude Code is probably my favorite AI tool of all time. It is not free, so I'm on the $200 a month plan. You can get it on the $20 a month. There's a couple of ways to get it. So it will appear here in code inside of Claude. This is the web version. The simplest way to get into it. You can use it via the command line interface, install it, but then you connect it to your Claude account, or you can use it via the API and then you're charged per billing. The simplest is through here. Anyway you're using it, it's going to cost money. If you're on the $20 a month Claude plan, you will run into limits quickly. So most people will move to the $100 or the $200 a month plan, which I know is not cheap, but the power and the potential from using Claude Code is so gigantic that if you're using it, if you're building businesses, if you are building product, if you're selling, Claude Code is still quite cheap at $200 a month. Is Google Gemini and Google Suite products worth teaching? A few months ago, I would have said no. Increasingly, I think it is. I'm running an AI workshop cohort right now, and one of the questions was asked was, oh, do you have any NotebookLM trainings? People have been asking me about it. So that's in part one of the reasons why I put together this presentation today. This is like a first run at me giving a workshop about NotebookLM, and then I will refine it and then license out that material. But I had to start here. So yes, I think there is increasingly a lot of interest in Gemini and NotebookLM. Some businesses use the Google Suite. Let's look at the market share. Microsoft versus Google. It's like enterprise we're looking for. So specifically Google Workspace and Microsoft 365, Microsoft Copilot 365, etc. Let's see if we can find an image. I don't know why I'm asking Google and not asking ChatGPT. Here we go. At the beginning of 2025, apparently, I haven't checked the source of this, but okay. At the beginning of 2025, Google Workspace had a 45% market share, Microsoft 365 held 29%, and other competitors accounted for 26%. So what I'd love to see the difference between the size of those companies, because all of the big companies, not all of them, but a vast majority of them use Microsoft. So that tends to be used at the large enterprise level, whereas Google Workspace tends to be used by smaller companies, not across the board. But I would love to see the stats on that. I still think Copilot is a good market because huge companies need help with this stuff. But I think Google Workspace, as you say, I think there would be an opportunity teaching there as well, especially now that people are using Gemini. So for the last year or so, or last couple of years, ChatGPT was the only game in town. So what we were seeing was shadow IT inside businesses, inside of corporations, where staff members were basically bringing ChatGPT to work. And that is still very much the case, but now that Gemini is actually good, since Gemini 3, it's more plausible that the people who are quietly bringing ChatGPT to work will just use Gemini. They'll be using the sanctioned AI, which is not the case with Copilot, because Copilot's not very good. Yeah, Google Labs, AI Studio, there's so many within Google. Yes, so Google have a strange problem where their ecosystem is so vast and they put out so many tools that it's hard to know which ones to use. So you mentioned AI Studio there. They have AI Studio, they have Google Jules, is it called? Jules, they have Google Gems. I can't even type it. There we go. Jules, an autonomous coding agent. Yep, they have Google Gem. Also, it's not called Gem, is it? Opal, excuse me. So Google Opal, they have Jules, AI Studio, Anti-Gravity, and blanking. But I think they have 6 or 7 different coding tools in their ecosystem, and it's very hard to tell, or it's very hard for people to work out which one they should be using. So Google have a strange problem, which is they throw so much spaghetti at the wall and hope one thing sticks. It's hard to tell which one you should be using. I would say with NotebookLM, it's reached a level of maturity where it's well worth using. Anti-gravity is fine, but not good enough to pull me off cursor. If you want to save money, anti-gravity is great because it is the wonderful price of free. So that's a very good reason. Jules, I played around with, never really used. Opal, I wasn't impressed. I was in a group asked to experiment with it and I didn't see the point. Google AI Studio is fantastic, but the UI and the user experience is a bit complicated. So it's hard to know where to start. If you are in here, go to build. If you want to vibe code, go to build, and that will just bring up a chat panel. So this is like using Lovable, it's like using Replit, Base 44, etc. This just allows you to chat and to vibe code. But again, that's hidden away. If you have no idea about code and you get to this screen and it's, what do you want to do? Build AI apps, chat with models, monitor API usage, explore Nano Banana Pro, text to audio with Gemini. This is, what do I do? If you scroll down, it's got Python code for importing. This would terrify you. So you have to find this build button and then you can just vibe code stuff. So Google have a really cool ecosystem. I think they have a bit of a messaging, a bit of a marketing problem, especially when it comes to the wider market. So people like you and I would spend some time digging around, trying these things out. For the average user though, it's too complex. And that's why companies like Lovable can still do well. I know a lot of people saw this Google AI Studio build and they're like, oh, Lovable's dead. Lovable's not going to survive this. No, what are you talking about? Lovable makes it easy to use, whereas Google hide it under multiple layers and you have to dig around to finally find the thing you're looking for, which has always been a Google problem, but they are doing better and pushing out good stuff as well. Google famous for killing mildly successful products. Yeah, is it called killedbygoogle.com? I got a message from the head of comms at Google and she's, oh, do you want to talk to our head of Nano Banana and do an interview? And I was like, I'd love to. I've just been sent dates, so I'm going to interview and chat to the head of Nano Banana. But now I'm on this live like, Google, what are you doing? That's okay. They know I'm very even in my coverage. So if I think you're doing something badly, I will say so. If I think you're doing something well, I will also say so. This is because I'm not sponsored by anyone, so I can say what I want. This is a hilarious website called Killed by Google. It has 299 applications that have been murdered by Google, including Google domains. I used to buy my domains from Google domains. And after 9 years, they're like, nah, Google optimized, that was great. The one that really upset me was the RSS reader. What was it called? Google Reader? Yeah, Google Reader, which was fantastic. And they just left the market to people like Feedly, who got greedy. Google have had loads of amazing products that they just shutter because part of their kind of modus operandi is have lots of teams working on lots of cool things at the same time. Only some of them are going to become a big success and the rest of them will appear on this website eventually. It's an experimental, see what sticks approach. How to start learning coding for free. Anti-Gravity is an IDE, it's a development environment which will allow you to work for free. Because it's relatively new, it came out in December. You get access to Gemini 3, Claude and Opus 4.5. They give you access to their competitors' model. They're very good models. And to GPT OSS, that is the open source version of ChatGPT. I wouldn't bother with that. Use Gemini 3 Pro or Opus, but that is free. You can also come to aistudio.google.com and click on this build button and you can build things in here. So this is also free. And what happens is if your app becomes popular and a lot of people start using it, you'll pay for your usage of the AI. So whatever AI you're building in the back. So if you're using Gemini 2.5, Gemini 3 Pro Preview, etc., eventually you'll start to pay for that usage. But that's only going to happen if your app is really popular. So those two are free and from Google. If you don't mind paying a little bit, then Lovable would be my focus. Lovable is a really good product. They have just launched a $5 a month plan. I don't know if it's available everywhere, but it's $5 a month. Lovable is one of the easiest tools to build in, but it is not free. That would be my recommendation. It's a good question. Claude Code and Cursor, unfortunately, they're not free. They're very good, but the question asked by Fukuyama is how to start learning vibe coding for free. I'd start in the Google ecosystem. If you have money to spend on your projects, then Claude Code. Claude Code is the best, just by an absolute mile. Bitmixing says, Google AI Studios built some fab apps. Gemini 3 is a really good little model. And the fact that this is free, it's hard to beat. Can Gemini make language learning apps? Google Gem translation. No, that's not what I want. Here we go. They've just released, here we go, TranslateGemma. They've just released 19 hours ago. TranslateGemma, a new suite of open translation models. Today, we're introducing TranslateGemma, a new collection of open translation models built on Gemma 3. Gemma is a really small model from Google, helping people communicate across 55 languages, no matter where they are or what device they are on. Gemma models tend to work on telephones. They're very small, very lightweight. This is apparently a very good translation model. If you're building a language learning app, this could potentially be part of that app. You can start in Google AI Studio, go to the build section, type in, I want to build a language learning app like Duolingo, but for whatever languages. I want to add grammar learning material. I don't know, whatever your idea is it's making it different to Duolingo, and build will go ahead and help you sketch that out, and you can build it using their models. You can tell it, hey, I want to include this translation model that is going to be downloaded and installed locally on the devices of the users to allow them to, for example, have speaking practice. The Google ecosystem is good if you are building language learning apps. So you have to pay for the really good pro models, unfortunately. We can now build businesses and product faster than ever using Claude Code, and Anthropic know that we can do that, and they know that's incredibly valuable. And now in my business, maybe my business partner will have an idea and he'll say, oh, we could do this, and we'll have a discussion back and forward, and then I can just build it and it will be done within an hour. Here's the first draft, and then we go back and forward and we can then release it to our customers. That is worth a lot of money, and Anthropic know that. They know that we can make money with it, so they feel perfectly justified, and I think are justified in charging $100, $200 per month, because we can build stuff that is so valuable. If you are building something that you're not selling, for example, let's say you're building this language learning app, apply for free credits. All of the major models, all of the major companies, Anthropic, ChatGPT, OpenAI, and Google, they all have grants and funds to help. So if you are building and you're going to sell something, then $200 a month for Claude Code is actually quite small. It's tiny compared to how much you can make. But if you are building and you want to give it away, talk to the companies and find out what is available, because they all have grants and they have charity programs that will help you get free credits. So chat to them all. I'm going to hop off. Thank you for coming. I've just landed back in the UK and I haven't unpacked. First thing I unpacked was my camera, and I was missing a tripod plate, and it was all very chaotic. Thankfully, we managed to get one done. Today we have looked at NotebookLM, and hopefully I have encouraged a couple of you to go and play around with it. It is fantastic. And then we actually went on a little tour of the rest of the Google ecosystem. We looked at anti-gravity, we looked at Google AI Studio. We looked also at the other side of the coin, which is killed by google.com. But hopefully this was a useful introduction to some of the Google ecosystem. And there was a very interesting question, which was, do you think there is a good business in teaching people about what Google have available, which I'd never really thought about before, but yes, I think there is. So thank you for that paint mixing ASMR. Whoever gets into that niche will do very well. This live will be edited, chopped up, tidied up and put onto YouTube, so you'll be able to find the clean version there. And if you go, that's not my website, I should know this by now. If you go to aiwithkyle.com and you join up here with the free challenge, the Get AI Ready in 5 days, or you join the community up here, you will be sent a newsletter every day, a summary of the prior live I gave. For example, this was from a couple of days ago. You'll get this in your inbox, running through the news of the day, my take on the news, plus any useful resources. 3 ways to access Claude Code. This popped up on the live earlier. How do I use Claude Code? Here are the 3 ways you can get into it, etc., etc. So this particular newsletter was all about Claude Code. So it would be the news, or it would be a guide like I covered today, and that is available for free on aiwithkyle.com. There is also the Get AI Ready in 5 days course, and other free courses here, how to start a business using AI. I think it's one of the best times ever to start something yourself. It's also a risky time to have a job, so having income from your own side project it's pretty sensible right now. And a training on how to give workshops to businesses as well, which is highly lucrative. So that's all available free on the website. So if you go to aiwithkyle.com, make sure you sign up to the newsletter and to the YouTube, which is, what are we now, 13,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're getting there. Very cool. I love this. It gives me my estimated monthly earnings. Apparently I'm earning between $3,000 and $9,000 from my YouTube. I don't know when they're going to send me that money. Google, you can send me that money. Thank you guys.